Housing. It's one of the basic needs in human life, but it's one of the things that seems to be difficulty to every government in this world. Go to any country and I can tell you for sure you find that each and every country is faced by housing crisis or even shortages of housing. If not that, there are some people who are living in a very awkward condition in slum or even under the bridge. Others live in tents. And you are left wondering why is it these very important things not being taken serious by the government? This is how to solve a housing crisis. In this channel, we have talked a lot about housing, but we have never come up with any solution. Remember, housing being a basic need, it should be in the core and the most important thing, maybe after health and food to any government in the world. But as much as you can go around, you see governments continue building housing, affordable housing, or other call them social housing. But the issue is these housing are being built for the wrong people and for the wrong reason. Right now, if you go around Africa, majority of the government have waked up and start building housing for their people who live maybe in slum area, the poor who can't afford to build their own house. But it doesn't look like their intention might be they wanted those people to benefit, but the reality is it's not those people who benefit. Let's take for example any housing, social housing, what do? You find that house is a congested house. Most of them are 60 to 100 meter square and it's about 4 3 bedroom, which is 100 meter square. That means that house is very small to start with. So if I have a big family or I need a big house, I will not go for that. Let's say I have some few money and I need a bigger house. I would not choose to go to this apartment, which is 100 meter square. But that is not the biggest issue. The biggest issue which you see all over, and I can tell you, you can start walking around your place and go to any social housing or affordable housing, is something called social amenities. These housing are lacking. They are dragging behind in this sector of social amenity. If you are talking about maybe a play area, a ground where people can be hanging around when they are free or where your children will be going to play, majority of these houses are lacking something like that. You cannot find a house which have a play area, and if it have a play area, it's just a small area which is cemented, or yeah, it's cemented for the children to play around. Remember, we are talking about green area. We want a bigger green area where I can wake up in the morning, go jog track and come back, where my children can go and play, come back. But this housing, their main intention is to solve a housing crisis. And yet, yes, we can agree at the first place you solve this problem, but you find this housing are associated with poverty. Why? Because it's only poor people who live in those houses. And the fact that people continue with this mentality, it will never be the same and will never be able to solve this issue. If today I go up and bought a social house, or maybe I rent a social house, one thing after sometimes when I have solved my issue of housing, when I solved my issue of maybe I was a homeless person or I was living indecently and now I have a house, I'll be happy. Then after 2 3 years, my income will go up. Then I'll start noticing there is those things which are missing in these houses, like there would be no green area. When you come in, there is no parking, and if there is parking, it have been, some people have taken it and put some other funny things. You see, maybe you have a friend which you are holding thing for him and you put on the parking area. If you discuss and want to contribute some money, maybe to clean this area, people will not be contributing. Remember, this is a housing which mostly they are aiming to the poor people. People will not be contributing, because when I bought this house, when I'm buying this house or I'm renting this house from the government, what am I told? This is a house where if you ask you to pay 10,000, it will be 10,000. So when people start kind of increasing their income, most of them will tend to move out, because this house, after some few days or some few months or a year, you find it have started to become another slum. It's only that it's a concrete slum, because people will not be paying money for it to be washed. People will not be paying money for maintaining public area. And if I want to go jogging, I have to go out. If my children want to go out and cycle, I have to accompany them. Why? Because they are going to cycle in the main road, because in this house which we bought from the government does not have a space for my children to cycle. That is the main issue, and that's why you find in every city you go around, you find that people are constructing social apartment or social house, and on top of that, there is these private investors who are continuing to construct and develop other housing, which still gets sold very fast than the social housing. Second thing, let's take in the African majority of this country who are building this social housing in the name of affordability. It's not affordable. Like in Kenya, I did see that they were building affordable apartment, and an apartment was ranging between 2 bedroom. It was allowed 4 million Kenyan shillings, which is about 40,000 USD. And in a country where majority of people live below the poverty line, still they cannot afford this housing. And if they come in, the government have not put aside a clear policy how I'll be paying my money. Majority of the developer were asking for 10% deposit, then the remaining you'll be paying as a monthly rent, the way you do pay the rent where you live. But ask yourself this: someone who is struggling to live, someone who is struggling even to have something to eat, how can you be able to raise at least 4,000 US dollar as a down payment? It is not possible. Then if we move on a range of middle class in this country, you find that the middle class are making somehow a better money for them to live in such housing. It will not be good for them to live, like it doesn't meet what the middle class want. I wish it was a bit love. They have a green area, they have a jogging track, it is very well maintained, then we can say it was targeting the middle class. But if it continued to be constructed like this, it's targeting the poor who have not enough money to buy the same house which is targeted for them, that remaining to be a town or a house which would be uninhabitable. And those which would be habitable, they will not change any kind of social status, or they will not change any problem the government have. Only thing they will do is to reduce the number of people who would be homeless. But if you want to remove slum, it will not be removed, because it will be turning another concrete slum which would be useless to the government. It will be dirty, and it will become a headache to the government. The last point is the majority of this social housing, if you can look how they are being constructed, they are constructed just as a basic need. It's 4 walls which are standing on you and a normal door, and on top of that, even some don't care about the natural light. You can switch on light. That tell you that it's not a long lasting solution. It will not long forever to be able to solve this issue. And you find that they are constructing this housing somewhere outside where people work. Because if you are in a city center and the house is being constructed 60 kilometers away from where you work, and remember majority of African countries suffer from traffic jam, there's no in a way I can invest in that house unless I work in that area. So unless the government face and be serious about this social housing, the issue of house crisis will remain and will be there forever and ever. Even if we consider housing as a basic thing, the issue of housing will not go anywhere. Goodbye. Thank you for sticking this far, and I hope you enjoy our content. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and share. Thank you.